Hello everyone, welcome back to Angela's Craft Room. Today I'm not actually showing you this particular card. I'm not going to do an identical card, but I wanted to show you how I make these rolls. I've got one at the bottom and one at the top, and the top one acts like a pocket, so you can actually put a tag in there, or you can just put a little note in there, and it just adds a little bit more dimension to your card. And I will show you this new die that's coming out, the So Detailed Thinlits, available in Australia on the 4th of January. And then I've just used the Elegant Butterfly Punch and the Bitty Butterfly Punch to cut out my butterflies with the Falling in Love designer series paper, which is also available on the 4th of January 2017. This here is the Falling in Love designer paper as well. And then we have the new embellishments, which is the Falling in Love ones. So they're really pretty. So we've got those. And then we've got the new 1/4 inch vanilla ribbon that's coming out, and you get 10 yards or about 9 meters on that spool. Now just to show you the detailed Thinlits, this is what you get with they're available on the 4th of January. This is what you get. So I've used this big one, and in the pocket I used this one as my tag. Okay, they're beautiful Thinlits, and they're just, they'll be available the 4th of January for you, and I'll leave the links to my online store at the bottom. So I'm just going to be showing you how I do these rolls. Okay, so let's get started. And as I say, it's not going to be an exact card like this. It's going to be more of a Christmas themed card. So you'll be able to see by using these techniques that you can make completely different themed cards. And another tip I have for you is with the card, the square card, for those that don't have 12 inch by 12 inch paper, normally we would do a 6 inch by 6 inch card. So you need to cut your 12 inch by 12 inch you need to cut that along 6 inches, so it's 6 inches wide, and then you would already have the 12 inch in length. Like it would normally be 12 inches in length there, and then it would be normally 6 inches across there. So if you only get A4 cardstock, what you can do is cut it at 11 inches and then cut it at 5.5 inches and score it at 5.5 inches, and that will give you a square card, which will be 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Check that, my measurements, yes. So that's that. So that's a tip, that if you don't have 12 inch by 12 inch paper. Now I've gone ahead and cut a 5 inch by 5 inch very vanilla cardstock, and I've stamped my Christmas bells and sentiments. Those Christmas bells and sentiments are from the stamp set Christmas Magic. I just love this stamp set, especially the train. I've done a couple of cards and tutorials on the train, and I just really love that one. So that's where I got my sentiments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this side of the card first, because I'm going to be rolling back these rolls. So we'll do that first. So to do that, I'm just going to adhere. You need to adhere a piece of designer series paper underneath, because like so, because then when I have my Christmas piece on the top, when I roll it back, it's going to show some of the DSP and some of the cardstock. So to start with, we just want to adhere that and we want it right on the edge. Like that. Now when we put this piece down, we only want to have some Terran tape underneath this side. Now the reason for that is because we're going to be rolling these pieces, these corners back, so we don't want any adhesive there. I will take off the Terran tape and I'll just put a very small amount of Snail just on here because I'm going to be rolling these corners back. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Snail there and a little bit there. So you can see where I did that, just there and then just there. And then we don't want any adhesive on this side, which is going along this side. So then I'm just going to line it up and lay that down. So then I've got it adhered to that side. Now, to make your rolls, I use a paintbrush. Now on this instance, I want little rolls, so I'm going to use a very thin paintbrush. Depending how thick your paintbrush is, that's how big and small your rolls are going to be. So to start with, I'm just going to just hook it onto there, because we can always unroll it and do it again if we're not happy with our rolls. Okay, so I like to do it a couple of times, and then when I get to there, you can slide your paintbrush there and you can see how I'm getting my rolls. Now I'm just going to do my rolls first, and then we're going to glue them down with some fine tip glue. And they don't have to be exactly the same. It just adds a little bit more interest to your card. So I'm just going to do that one again. So you can see how I'm doing that. And the tighter you do it, so it's quite, I think it's quite an effective look on your card. Okay, so now I need to bring out my fine tip glue pen. This is awesome, this stuff. Let's make sure I've got a good flow. So then I need to bring that, sorry, I'm off camera, bring that back Then I'm just going to hold my paintbrush and just put a little bit of fine tip glue under there. Now just slide it out, and you'll see that the fine tip glue does take pretty quickly. There's a little bit of glue there. Okay, so then we'll go and do this one. It's going to put a little bit of glue there. It's a bit hard to see how much is coming out because you don't need very much. Sorry. There we go. Slide that out, and you can see that fine tip glue, and you can see that the bottom ones turned out a bigger roll than the top one, but that doesn't matter. That's the uniqueness of the card. And then what I'm going to do is get my clear Wink of Stella and just go over those rolls, and it's just going to add some nice glittery effect. And the same on this one. I used to do these rolls a lot on my cards because that's what my customers wanted. Haven't done it for a while, but it is a good technique, and it does add a another dimension to your card. So if you're really smart and you want to, you can just put a little bit of Snail there, and that will just hold that middle section down, but you'll still be able to put a tag in there. You can see my tweezers are quite large and they go in there quite well. So that's that side of the card finished, so we'll just set that aside to dry. And I'll just have a look where I'm going to have that sitting on this side. I'm going to have that sitting about there. And then I've got a piece of Early Espresso which is going to go about there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the Thinlits I showed you before, I've gone ahead and pre-cut one out, and you can see how intricate they are. So you will need to use your precision plate for this. I've used the new glassine sheets, and I think I've got one here hiding under here. So you can see I've already cut out the Thinlit, but you can see the lovely design as well on those Thinlits. They feel a little bit waxed, but they're very easy to cut out. Thinlits were very easy to cut out with it using the precision plate. Now there is a bit of a trick to putting it on how I do it. So I've already put a piece of Terran tape on there, so we need to remove that. And then we're just going to pop this on here. Just do it a little bit at a time, because you don't, the Terran tape is the best one to use because it's going to not going to come off. So you can see how effective that is. How effective that is like that. Now I've noticed that I've gone over the edge a bit, so all I'm going to do there is just trim that little piece off. I mean, I most probably could have left it there, but okay. So we've done that just on one side. So then all I've done after adhering it to the Terran tape, I've just, that's the back, all I've done is folded it over like so. Now to keep that adhered to there, what I'm going to do is just apply all around this outside edge. I'm just going to apply some fine tip glue. You don't need very much. So, hope you can see. I'm just applying a little bit. You will have to apply it at least, doing this technique on this card, you need to apply it at least on the outside edge, so this will adhere down to your card. If you want to, you can, on the bigger pieces, you can just add a little bit of glue. And when you get these Thinlits, you will see there's about 4 flowers. So I usually just put a little bit of fine tip glue when I'm making this particular card this way, just around the flowers as well. So I've just got a little bit too much there and there. So then I'm just going to just glue that, just hold it on the edge and just walk your hand down. And don't worry if you get a little bit of glue that you can see, because it will dry clear. I just think it's really effective, especially on the early espresso. It's just so effective. So just get rid of that and that. So it's just more important to have it particularly on the edge here. Okay, so then got a bit of glue there, so just careful. So then what I'm going to do is, I think next I'll pop these down. then this piece is going to go on top. We're going to do a bit of layering. You know I love to layer my cards. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is apply the adhesive. I'm just using Snail because it's a lot quicker for the tutorial. Now I'm just going to apply that down there. So that's there, and then we need to apply this piece like that. So we'll put some Snail on there. Put a bit extra where I've got the glassine sheet. Okay, so then I bring back in my card. I'm going to turn it this way. So there's no glue there, so then I just turn it over. That's going to go down like that. So we've got that so far. And because I did that and I squished my rolls, you just pinch them back up. They'll come back up. And remember, they're glued down with the fine tip glue pen, so they're really good. And you can always bring back in your paintbrush to get that nice rolled effect. If it's only because I turned it over and I flattened it a little bit. And that just brings back the rolled effect. Okay, so we've done that. Now to add some more dimension, we're going to just stick that down. Then we're just going to pop that in there like that, because we have more layers to go on top of that. So then it's hard to tell which is the right side sometimes. There. So we'll just add, and that one's run out on me. Always have one when you're doing tutorials, always have one to go, because they always run out when you're doing a tutorial. So now I just want to pop this, I think about there. Like so. Now we need a sentiment. So I have pre-cut a couple of things out, Now, with these sizes that I'm putting on my card, they're just offcuts. So, you know, there's no real measurement. So it's just what you want to do, really. So now I'm going to add this piece of crumb cake on there. Just add a little bit. And I've just wound round some real red baker's twine. So just have to cut a little bit of that off. So I'll just on the back here, so that piece will stay down. So I can just stick that last piece onto the snail. Right. Then I'm just going to grab a little bit of Terran tape because I've got a big bulky piece of twine on there. I don't want it to be lifting off. Just for good measure, I'll put a piece down this side as well, like that. Lifting this piece off where the baker's twine is going to be the challenge. Just got to get it in the corner. And then just pull it off. And just pull that one off. You could put a little bit of snail just either end if you wanted to. Then I'm going to just add this pretty much flush where I put the original piece. Like that. And it won't come, if you use Terran tape, it won't come up. Okay, so now we're going to, what I've got there now, I went ahead and with that stained Christmas stamp set Christmas Magic, I've just stamped the sentiment and I've just got a scrap piece of real red. So I actually might use dimensionals on the sentiment. That should do. It's just a bit of a trick I do. I just like to press them in the center. Then that comes off quite easy then. Then what I might do is pop the piece of real red on first, because it's a bit hard when I've got the top piece has got dimensionals, and when you turn it over when the other piece has got dimensionals, it's a bit hard to put snail on there. So then I'm just going to put, we want it like in the middle. So about there. And then if this can come off my finger, we're just going to pop the sentiment in about the middle. But this tutorial was mainly to show you how to do those rolls, but it's become a full production, hasn't it? So there. Now to finish off, what I did was I stamped up some three flowers. Which one did I use? Yes, I used this one. And then I cut it out with the petite flower punch. Okay, which makes it really easy because it just makes it so much easier. So that's them there. I stamped them on the crumb cake and then I stamped them with real red, and then I just used my bone folder and just twirled them up on the edges, which I've already done. So, and that's another thing you could do, you could sponge round these edges, but I didn't worry about that for this time. So we'll just put a dimensional on the back of each of those flowers. So just putting a dimensional on the back of these flowers. Like that. And what I'm going to do is place these just on the flower of the Thinlits. You could just leave it as you have. It's just a personal choice. And I think it just shows a bit of balance to your card as well. So that's the flowers there. So then, if I can find what I did with them, the metal rim pearls that you can get from Stampin' Up. So you get quite a few like I've used heaps out of here, but you do get quite a few. Oh, 24 pieces you get. So you get 24, and there's 3 different sizes. Now, these are the real tiny ones. And I just want to take the backing. There's a little yellow backing there. You just remove that, and it's self-adhesive. And I'm just going to pop that in the middle of the flower, if I can. Just press it down. Just adds a little bit of, if you're making a card for someone special, or if you're doing an order, you could, you know, put the price in and add this little bit of extra. Or you could just use the normal jewels pearls. I just really like these metal rim pearls. Right, and then what I did was I stamped and punched out 2 of these butterflies. Now this is from, I'll move my card, this is from the Papillon Potpourri set, sorry, and I've just used this butterfly here, and it does have a matching stamp. This is the Bitty Butterfly Punch. You also can get the Elegant Butterfly Punch as well, which is for the larger flowers in the set. So I'm just using, I just did a couple of little ones there, and I'm just going to pop them, I think there, and there. So I might just do that with a little bit of Snail. You can just bend up the wings. I'm just trying to make sure I stay on camera for you. So like that. And then just a bit of Snail on the back of there. And I'll just put that one up in the corner. Just bend his wings up a little bit. Okay, and then I might just add a little bit of, make sure I've got the clear one and not the gold one, the Winker Stella, and I'm just going to add that to the butterfly's wings. And it's just going to give you a nice gloss, glittery gloss effect on your card. But I hope you'll give those rolls a try. It is a new technique, and I have done a fair bit of layering on this card. I will do a couple of tutorials for you that are just stamping plain, so that if you just want to do the plain cards, that's quite alright. And I might even just add a little bit of Winker Stella to the flowers, just on the petals. And the Winker Stella just lasts forever. I love it. It's so much easier to use than the bottles that we used to have in all the colours. I tend to use the clear one more than I do the gold. But in saying that, I did use the gold glitter on a fish stamp the other day, and it turned out quite well. But I just really like to thank you for subscribing to my channel and watching my tutorials. It's what keeps me going when I see someone has subscribed. So, but if you don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator looking after you and you live in Australia, I would love to have the chance to help you. I will leave the links to my blog, my business page on Facebook, YouTube channel, which you're on anyway, so you don't really need that. And that's our card for today. So I've used a few different products there for you. So if I can help you in any other way, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you go to my online store, and the link will be below, and you click on that link, then click on Shop Now, in the top right hand corner my contact details are there, so you'll be able to contact me there. You'll see them there. So once again, thank you so much for being loyal and watching my tutorials. And until next time, happy crafting.